Hello students, today we are going to learn about unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. Basically, all living beings are made up of cells. Either they are the plants or they are the animals. They made up of cells only. That's why the cell is known as basic unit of life. When we observe all kinds of organisms, some organisms are too smaller than big organisms. Some organisms very heavier than small organisms. For example, if we take an elephant and whale, these two are maybe the very largest animals in the animal kingdom. If you observe a banyan tree, that banyan tree may be the largest tree in the plant kingdom. Even though they are the biggest organisms, they are also made up of cells. That's why the cell is the fundamental unit of living thing. As well as if you observe some of the organisms like amoeba and euglena, paramecium, these are the organisms which are made up of single cells. Even though these organisms made up of single cells, they are also considered as living beings. Then what is the difference between largest animals as well as uh, smallest animals, or either largest plants or very smaller plants? Whatever it may be, they are made up of cells. Now I am going to classify these organisms into two types. One is unicellular organisms and the other one is multicellular organisms. Come to the unicellular organisms. What does it mean by unicellular? Uni means a single unit. We can consider that it as a single unit. Then cellular means the body of the living being, it is having only one cell, or the body of the organism maybe it is made up of single cell. That kind of animals are known as unicellular organisms. For example, if you take yeast, chlamydomonas, amoeba, paramecium, these are all the living beings. They are made up of single cell. Even though they are made up of a single cell, they perform all functions in them like ourselves. Let us come to the multicellular organisms. You know, multi means it consists of more than one cell. It means that the living body or the living organism is made up of more than one cell. It doesn't contain only single cell, it contains more than one cell, maybe 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 or 100 or many more number. This kind of organisms are known as multicellular organisms. For example, these multicellular organisms, so we can take any living beings which we can see through the naked eyes. We can clearly, whatever we are seeing, the organisms, maybe the plants or maybe the animals, those are all living beings, are all considered as multicellular organisms. If you take these multicellular organisms, these multicellular organisms will consist of more than one part or more than one cell. Each cell may be function individually to perform whole body system. Now, let us observe the differences between the unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. First one is unicellular organisms is presented by single cells, and multicellular organisms are consists of more than one cell, maybe more numbers, not a single cell. When come to the unicellular organisms, all the activities of the organisms are performed by this single cell. When come to the multicellular organisms, a single cell performs one or a few activities of the organisms. Then come to the unicellular. There is no division of labor as a single cell perform all life activities. When come to the multicellular organisms, cells are specialized to perform different functions of the body so that there is a division of labor within the cells itself. Then come to the unicellular organisms. Reproduction consumes in a single cell only. But multicellular organisms, they have different types of reproductive systems in them. The lifespan of these unicellular organisms is very short, but the lifespans of that multicellular organism is little bit more or more than this unicellular organisms.